Hi everyone, it's Dave here, and I've got Vince Accardi on the line to run through the race speed profiles. It's somewhat like a speed map in terms of early settling, but it's based on the IVR data and the metres per second, and then we run through mid-race and also the late closing speed. And there can be some really good value if you know how to use this, so we thought we'd get Vince on to explain what he looks for and basically how to use these race speed profiles. How you going, Vince?
Fantastic, David, and yourself?
Yeah, going really well, thanks. And it'd be a good chance here to explain what to look for with these race speed profiles. And we're going to use race 4 tomorrow at Randwick. Guelph's the hot pot. So run us through where you see Guelph being in the run and what type of race or tempo you think will be suited.
Yeah, sure. Well, just a couple of things that I'd like to sort of point out. With the race speed profile, the whole structure of this is it works off their natural running style, like what the data has been physically produced to create these grids. What we're looking to identify is we're looking to identify how much energy is the horse going to exert or conserve in terms of energy through each of the stages to give us further insight in understanding what's their true probability of them getting, or a runner getting, a race run to suit their running style. So if we start off with a horse like Guelph, we look at first of all the early settling speed. We see the blue dotted line that runs pretty much all the way down the chart from Dreamford all the way down to Kiss Rose. So basically, if you're past that line, as you can see Guelph is with 16.16 metres per second, that means that this particular runner is most likely going to conserve energy through that first 400 metres because it's past the line. The only time that it may not conserve energy is if the jockey decides to push aggressively forward and lead on the horse, and then it may have a situation where it will start to overexert. But its natural running style is a horse that has a tendency to get a little bit further back in its races, but if they wanted to, they could quite easily, on this race pace grid, find themselves in the first 3 or 4 if they wanted to, but that's unlikely. So I see that Guelph profiles very, very well through the first section, and it's going to conserve energy and more than likely sit off that speed through that first section. When I look at the middle section is between the 800 and the 400 metres of this particular race, and what we're looking for here, this is when the horses are in their rhythm, in their sort of full motion flow, before asked for the supreme exertion, coming into that last part of the sprint. And this gives us the ability to see which horses can relax the best while they're still maintaining a really good stride and rhythm and speed. Again, we look through that blue line that runs all the way down the page, and we can see that Guelph also clearly sits above it. So above it means past that line, you've got every possibility that you're going to conserve energy, and below the line means that you may have to be working harder than normal to hold your position. Because this line is created by all the runners in this race. Creates that mean average, and that's what that is. And then we look at the late closing speed. Again, Guelph profiles very, very strongly, well past the line. So everything seems to be very, very positive for this particular runner. So what could be the possible negatives? The possible negatives is if it's further back than 7 or 8 lengths coming to the 600 metre, 800 metre mark, that could be a real negative for this particular runner. Because when I look at the late closing speed, and we'll come to the other horses as we go through them, we can see that at 17.44 metres per second, it doesn't possess the biggest sprint in the field, but it's a horse that's up in the top 3. So it is going to be important that they don't get a mile back. If it had drawn, a barrier between 1 and 4, I'd probably be rushing to the bank to see how much more money I can get out to back it with.
All right, so we'll move on.
And then there'll also be a comments version that myself and Rick will be working closely together on and providing our view of the positive and negatives of the race. We won't necessarily be saying this is going to be the winner or that's going to be the loser or anything like that. What we want to point out is we want to highlight the key attributes of what we see in the race and identify key runners. And if we clearly see that this looks like it's going to be a big negative for the horse, we want to spell out the reasons why. And if we see the big positives, we also want to spell out the reasons why. And it's really going to be along those lines. It's not going to be, we think 1, 2 or 5 work. It's really, we really want it to be a tool to enhance the people that are either getting a set of ratings from Champion Picks or they're doing their own form and they just want another angle. This is going to be the big advantage. And one thing that I can say, I know, David, you've been utilising this a little bit yourself. I've been test driving it for the last 6 months. It's been 10 years in the making, but over the last 6 months I've been religiously taking it with me to the Carnival radio show that I do on a Saturday. I use this as one of my main tools. I found enormous benefit looking at the late closing speed. I mean, it's been able to identify a ton of runners. I mean, I don't know if you even recall yourself, David, but Tuscan Fire, when it won at 101, was a massive chance off the grid. And these are the sort of hidden aspects that we're going to be able to uncover, and fantastic for our exotic players and other variables that want to do. And it's also a very serious tool for the professional people that are managing horses or jockeys or giving instructions out, or for owners of horses. We see that as being a big plus. And of course, if you can get the comments version, then it's going to help you, at least in initial stages, get the gist of how we're interpreting this information. We've really got to understand the exertion of energy a horse uses. This, on many occasions, get runners beat or they win races. It's all about that exertion. And this gives you absolute clarity on seeing which runners are going to be naturally suited or unsuited. And that's what it's all about. It's about us refining our work, looking for those hidden jewels and gems when we're making our play, and it just gives us another massive advantage on the day.
Exactly. All right, nice work again, mate, and we'll leave it there for today, but all the best for tomorrow.